Morning students, welcome to the online biology classes. Yesterday we have just discussed about the male and the female reproductive systems through the nice PowerPoint presentation slides. Today today we will be just covering these topics from our NCERT textbooks. Let us see that what matter we have left. In the previous video we will be just going through our NCERT books, and let us see that what all things we have just covered and what else has to be covered, and let us see what is in your syllabus in NCERT book. So we'll be seeing all the topics, that is yesterday's topics, male and female reproductive system, we'll be understanding through our NCERT books also. So let us see, let us start the video. The first one is male reproductive system. Let us see that the male reproductive system consists of portions which produce the germ cells and other portions that deliver the germ cells to the site of fertilization. Very good. So it is very nicely given over there. Means the male reproductive system is having two portions. One portion deals with the production of the germ cell, that is sperm, and another portion to deliver it out of the body. Okay, so one is for production, another portion is for its delivery. The formation of germ cell or sperms takes place in the testes. You can see here it is marked over there, the oval structure is testes. Here only the production of the sperm or the germ cells takes place. These are located outside the abdominal cavity in scrotum. Why these testes are located outside the abdominal cavity? Abdominal cavity means the cavity which is just under your belly. You will be just seeing that that portion is called as the abdominal cavity, and that testes, when the child is very young, in the infants, you can observe that these testes are actually abdominal. These testes lie stuck to that body. It is not hanging out, it is actually in contact with our body. But as soon as the child attains the puberty, these testes hang out of the abdominal cavity. Now what is the reason why it is hanging out of the abdominal cavity? Because for the production of the sperm, much lesser temperature is required as compared to the body temperature. Our body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. Now the sperm formation requires 5 degree, 6 degree less temperature than the body temperature. That's why that testis is lying, or it is hanging out of the abdominal cavity, because for the production of the sperm. And for this infant, why in infant it is abdominal, it is not hanging out? Because in the infants the developmental process is going on, so the testis is not involved in production of the sperm at that stage. That's why they are having no problem touching with the body. Okay, but in puberty, when our reproductive organs start producing the sperm, that is the time when our testes, they hang out in the abdominal cavity and lies in pouch like structure called as scrotum. I hope student you are able to understand. These are located outside the abdominal cavity in scrotum because sperm formation requires a lower temperature than the normal body temperature. We have discussed the role of testes in the secretion of hormones. So this testis is also involved in the production of male hormones, that is testosterone. Okay, so that is the hormone which regulates the production of the sperm, and the other secondary sexual characteristics, or the development of the other secondary sexual characteristics, are also being controlled by this hormone. Okay students, okay, let us move ahead. Okay, we have discussed the role of testes in the secretion of the hormone testosterone in the previous chapter. In addition to regulating the formation of sperm, testosterone brings about changes in the appearance in boys at the time of puberty. So already we have just discussed that this hormone, that is testosterone, is responsible for the production of the sperm also, and it regulates the secondary sexual characteristics in the male body also. The sperm formed are delivered through the vas deferens. Yesterday we have discussed, which unites with the tube coming from the urinary bladder. The urethra thus forms a common passage for both the sperms and the urine. Along the path of the vas deferens, glands like prostate and seminal vesicle and the secretions, so that the sperms are now in fluid, which makes their transport easier, and the fluid also provide nourishment. So yesterday we have discussed that the seminal fluid, the seminal vesicle, which connects with the vas deferens, secrete their secretions inside the vas deferens, which is a liquid which is having sugar in it, and that seminal fluid gives the nourishment. That sugar which is present in that fluid gives nourishment to that sperm. And one more gland, that is the prostate gland, also connects with the vas deferens, and it also secretes the secretion inside the vas deferens, and that prostate secretion, that prostate fluid, that fluid gives more fluidity to that sperm and makes it more mobile. Okay, so what is the role of the seminal vesicle and the prostate gland? They secrete their secretions inside the vas deferens and make the sperm more fluid and give it more mobility and provide nourishment also. So who provides the nourishment? Seminal fluid. Who provides the mobility? Prostate gland fluid. Okay. The sperms are tiny bodies that consist of mainly genetic material and a long tail that helps them to move towards the female germ cell. So a detailed structure of the sperm we have discussed in yesterday's video. You can see that video to understand the actual complete structure of male sperm. Female reproductive system. The female germ cells of the eggs are made in the ovaries. They are also responsible for production of some hormones, and the name of the hormones are estrogen and progesterone. So student, remember that male produces only one hormone, that is the testes produce only one hormone, that is testosterone. But in female, as the body is complex as compared to male, the female body has to hold a newborn baby inside the womb. Its body is more complicated and it needs more hormone control. That's why the ovaries in the female secretes two hormones, that is estrogen and progesterone. And these two hormones helps in the regulation of or the formation of the eggs from the ovary and the development of the secondary sexual characteristics also. They are responsible for production of some hormones. Okay, when a girl is born, so this is very important, student, and very interesting also. When a girl child is born, in the case of male, let us understand through this. In the case of male, the formation of sperm begins at the age of puberty, when the boy child attains the age of puberty. But in the case of girls, when the girl child is inside the mother's womb, that means the girl child is in the embryonic stage, at that time only the girl child is having thousands of immature egg. Okay, and when the girl child is born, by that time, it is born, so already the girl child is born with thousands of immature eggs in the ovaries, and the development will take place in the entire period starting from the birth to the puberty of a girl child. And when the girl child attains the age of the puberty, one of the egg become matures. Out of these 1,000, one egg every month matures, and it comes in the, or it has been released by either of the ovary. Not both the ovaries will release one egg. Only one, either left side or right side ovary will release one egg every month, and that egg will come in the fallopian tube. So let us see that what is written in the NCERT book. On reaching puberty, some of these start maturing. One egg is produced every month by one of the ovaries. The egg is carried from the ovary to the womb through a thin oviduct or fallopian tube. The two oviducts unite into elastic bag-like structure known as the uterus. The uterus opens into the vagina through cervix. So this we have seen yesterday when we were discussing about the parts. In that, what we have seen, that when the egg is released by the ovary, either of the ovary, that egg follows the path of and it comes into a tube-like structure that is called as a fallopian tube, or it is called as oviduct also. It comes and it passes through, it travels through that oviduct, and it comes into and different developmental stages. In yesterday's video we have discussed. So in order to see that video with diagrams and all, as we are discussing with NCERT today, so for the diagrammatic representation and PPT representation, you can watch that video that I have posted yesterday. The egg is carried in the ovary. Okay, are carried from the ovary to the womb. And what is the womb? Here also a diagram is written over there. Here you can see the red triangular shaped structure inside which the white space is there, that is called as the womb, or we can say that uterus. So through the tube like structure, that egg which is released by the ovary comes to the womb of through a thin oviduct or fallopian tube. The two oviduct unite. Up now these two oviduct, here you can see that from each ovary two pipe like structure will come and both of them unite to form a bag like structure which is called as womb or uterus. Okay, the uterus opens into the vagina through the cervix. Up now here it is written over there, you can see a cervix, a small hole is called cervix, and this is the vagina. The uterus opens into vagina through the cervix. So cervix is the first opening and vagina is the opening of that particular organ to outside of the female body. Okay, so that's why we say that the uterus opens to outside into the vagina through the cervix. Okay, the sperm enters through the vaginal passage. So from this passage only the sperm, that male reproductive cell, that is sperm, enters during sexual intercourse. When there will be sexual intercourse, the sperm enters into the vagina. The sperm enters into the this fallopian tube of the or the female reproductive system through this vagina which opens into outside. Okay, so from this is the passage only for the entry of the sperm. They travel towards to reach the oviduct where they encounter the egg. Up now what happens, whenever the sperm goes inside, it goes inside and it goes directly into the fallopian tube. And in the fallopian tube where ovaries release the egg, in the junction, that is the junction, the name of the junction is ampular isthmic junction, means the fallopian tube what we have just talked about, the oviduct which is having the egg. So when egg is released by the ovary, it comes and it unite with the sperm in the mid path of the oviduct, and that particular portion of the oviduct is called as ampular isthmic junction. So there only. So if in examination it is been asked that okay, where does the fertilization take place or where does the fusion of the male and the female gamete take place, so it takes place in the fallopian tube. Okay, so what happens, the sperm enters through the vaginal passage, sexual intercourse, they travel upward and reach the oviduct where they may encounter the egg. Now here it is written they may encounter the egg. Okay, so if the sperm is going and it is traveling upward and it will go inside the fallopian tube, so at that time if there is no egg there to fertilize, so it will not be receiving any egg or there will be no fusion. If suppose that egg is there but sperm is not there, then also there will be no fusion. So for the fusion, both the sperm and the egg should be present in the oviduct. Okay, so let us see the further story. The two oviduct unite into elections that we have seen. The fertilized egg, okay, the fertilized egg start dividing and form a ball cells or embryo. The embryo is implanted in the lining of the uterus where they continue to grow and develop organs to become fetus. We have seen in earlier section that the mother's body is designed to undertake development of the child. Hence the uterus prepares itself every month. Okay, so let us see that what happens if suppose that the condition is like this, okay, sperm and ovum both are there in the fallopian tube, and what will happen then the fusion will take place, and when the fusion will take place, both the cells, that is sperm and the ovum, both will unite together, and what will form, a zygote will be formed, or zygote, another name for zygote is the fertilized egg. Now that fertilized egg will travel down through the fallopian tube and it will stick to the inner walls of this bag like structure which is called as uterus or womb. So when that fertilized egg come and stuck to that one of the wall of the uterus, that stage is called as implantation. What is that called? That is called as implantation. So as the embryo, and that is fertilized egg is called as zygote. Zygote will divide and redivide and divide many times. It will divide. First of all, it will be 2-cell stage, that is sperm and ovum. Then it will become 4-cell stage, then 8-cell stage, and then many cell stage will be formed. And then at the end, blastocyst will be formed, and that blastocyst will come and it will get implanted in one of the walls of the uterus. Okay, when that implantation will take place, means as soon as that fertilized egg come and stick to the walls of the uterus. What is the story of the uterus now? Uterus also prepares itself to receive a fertilized egg. मतलब उसकी प्रिपरेशन इसलिए रहती है कि इफ it receives the fertilized egg, matlab it prepares itself to receive a fertilized egg only. Okay, and what is the story if the egg is not fertilized? Then what happens? That also we'll be discussing in the further pages. We'll be discussing that also. But as of now, we are discussing that. Suppose that if egg and sperm unite together and egg become fertilized, and that fertilized egg comes and stick to the walls of the uterus. Okay, so what happens? This uterus also prepares itself टू रिसीव अ फर्टिलाइज एग. वो उसी तैयारी में रहता है कि मैं एक फर्टिलाइज एग को रिसीव करूँ. और सपोज दैट अगर उसको एक फर्टिलाइज एग रिसीव हो जाता है, तब वो क्या करता है, और जब नहीं होता है उसको फर्टिलाइज एग रिसीव, तब वो क्या करता है, दैट वी हैव टू सी. सपोज दैट इट इज रिसीव्ड अ फर्टिलाइज एग, देन व्हाट हैपन्स, उसकी क्या तैयारियां थी. एवरी मंथ इट गेट फिल्ड विथ रिच सप्लाई ऑफ ब्लड हैविंग ऑक्सीजन, and that blood is having nutritions also. So if the egg, if it receive the fertilized egg, it start giving the nourishment through that blood to that fertilized egg, and it leads to the further development of that fertilized egg into embryo, and that embryo will again divide and redivide, and all the parts of the body will be formed, and the embryo will then convert into fetus, and that fetus is having all the parts of the body, that is a newborn baby. And after completing the gestation period of 9 months, that particular developed baby will be delivered out of the body after completing the period of 9 months or 36 weeks. Okay students, if suppose that it will happen only when the uterus will receive the fertilized egg. If suppose that it will not receive the fertilized egg, then what happens, that also we will be seeing in a while. Okay, the embryo is implanted. Let us see what is written. Continue grow and develop organs to become fetus. We have seen in earlier section that the mother's body is designed to undertake the development of child. Hence the uterus prepares itself every month, receive and nurture the growing embryo. The lining thickens and richly supplied with blood to nourish the growing embryo, that we have discussed. The embryo get nutrition from the mother's blood with the help of a special tissue called placenta. Okay, so that is again a very important thing, that how that particular growing baby inside the womb will get all the nutrients, rich supply of blood, all the waste material will be removed from the body of the embryo. So that all happens, that all takes place through the mother's, so that all happens through the through one of the tissue, which is the very specialized tissue. In examination many a times the function of the tissue is being asked, or it is an attachment, or it is the connection between the mother's body and the growing embryo. Okay students, so what is that tissue called? That tissue is called placenta. Okay, that is a disc shaped tissue which forms a connection between the child and mother's body. Okay, let us see more about that. This is a disc which is embedded in the uterine wall. It contains villi on the embryonic side of the tissue. So that is also very important thing, that villi, what is the function of villi, we have already discussed. Villi are the finger like projections which actually increase the area, of either absorption or increase the area of if suppose that in this case nourishment is has to be provided to the young one or the developing embryo. So if the surface area will be more, which is connecting the embryo, then for sure the nourishment also will be very nicely given to the embryo. So that is this shape, and the villi side is on the embryo side. Okay, on the mother side are blood spaces which surround the villi. This provide a large surface area of glucose and oxygen to pass from the mother to the embryo. Okay, so from on the mother side lots of blood vessels are there, so that blood can be poured inside that villi like structure, and villi will be giving that blood and oxygen and glucose to the embryo. So it is very interesting students. Okay, let us move further. The developing embryo will also generate waste substance which can be removed by transferring them into the mother's blood through the placenta. So the embryo, whatever the waste will be generated, will be removed through that placenta inside the mother's body only, and then mother will excrete it out, and the good things like glucose, oxygen and the blood will be transferred from the mother's body to the embryo through that placenta only. The development of the child inside the mother's body takes approximately 9 months. The child is born as a result of rhythmic contraction of the muscles in the uterus. So at the time of childbirth, there will be lots of contraction in which the mother will feel lots of pain. So when the mother start feeling those pains or contractions, that is the indication that now the pregnancy has to be pregnancy is completed, and now the time comes when the baby has to be delivered out of the mother's body. What happens when egg is not fertilized? Now here comes that question. That story we have seen, when egg is fertilized, then the uterus is receiving the fertilized egg. If suppose that the uterus does not receive the fertilized egg, only a simple egg which is not fertilized comes into the uterus, because we have discussed may or may not it can receive the sperm, or there is chances are less that both sperm and ovum are there at the same time when the fusion will take place. So suppose that if it is not there, then the egg is not fertilized, and if unfertilized egg will come and it will stick to the wall of the uterus, then the lining becomes thick. Though, as we have already discussed, that the uterus also prepares itself, uterus become thick, spongy and get filled with rich supply of blood. And suppose that if it does not receive a fertilized egg, then it has to remove all the preparations. Okay, then that uterus has to remove that particular blood which is getting filled inside it along with the unfertilized egg every month. Okay, so that is called as menstrual bleeding, and it lasts from 3 to 5 days. Okay, so that is called as the menstrual bleeding if suppose that uterus does not receive a fertilized egg, and it is a usual process because it may not receive the fertilized sperm every time. So if there is no if there is no sperm and fusion of sperm and ovum inside the fallopian tube, so obviously the egg will not be fertilized, and if an unfertilized egg will be coming and sticking to the wall of the uterus will come to know that it is unfertilized, and it has to remove all the preparation. That means the blood has to be shut off along with the unfertilized egg, and that period is only called as the menstrual bleeding. Okay, let us see that what is written over there. This would require for nourishment embryo if the fertilized egg take place. Now, however, lining is not needed any longer. So the lining slowly breaks and comes through the vagina as blood and mucus. This cycle takes place roughly every month, and it is known as menstruation. It usually lasts from about 2 to 8 days. Okay, so it lasts from minimum 2 days and maximum it can go up to 8 days. In most of the healthy females, it lasts for 5 days. Okay, reproductive health. So that is very important, student. Reproductive health, the teenagers, they have to, which have started their menstruations. Okay, and very important thing I have to tell you, the first period which a girl child is having is named as menarche. Means from the very first time when it attains puberty and the very first menses when a girl child is having, that is called as menarche. Okay, that also comes in the examination. Reproductive health means a teenager, especially the girls, have to take care about their personal hygiene. When the menstruation starts, you have to clean the private parts. Okay, and there should not be dead blood cells, because when the bleeding occurs, the dead blood cells are stuck to the body, and that is a good source of food for the bacteria and viruses and many other microorganisms which settle over there, and it will can infect your body and lead to many infections, which can even lead to infertility. Means a lady becomes incapable of producing the young ones even, and it can lead to cancer, it can lead to many other urinary tract infections, and it may even lead to the death of a female also. So you have to take lots of care, as lots of blood comes out every month, so there can be a loss of blood and lead to anemia. So the girl child has to take lots of nutritious food, balanced diet, and milk and fruits and green leafy vegetables has to be taken surely by a girl child. Okay, students, boys also have to take lots of care about their cleaning of the private parts. They have to take nutritious food, they have to do exercises, they have to do yoga and take healthy food. Okay, now let us read that what is given over there. Okay. Huh. As we have seen, the process of sexual maturation and gradual makes takes place when generally boys grow and still going on. Body, I am very sorry. Place while general body growth is still going on. Therefore, some degree of sexual maturation does not necessarily mean that the body or the mind is ready for sexual act. Okay, so students, it is something very general. It is given. You all have a reading of your NCRT book regarding this reproductive health. Okay, so here we came to an end of this particular topic from NCRT, and from the next time what we'll be doing, I'll be making a video. So explanation will be done through the videos also, and at the end the tough topics, or for most of the topics, we'll be just referring our NCRT book also, as we have done today. The last topic, I am seeing that last topic is left, that is uh, means of contraception. Okay, methods of contraception we have to study here. It is written in NCRT as a paragraph. Let us see that. What is contraception? Contraception means to avoid the unwanted pregnancies in the families. You might have seen that in the uneducated families, they don't know about the family planning. That means how many children they should have, so that they can provide them better education, they can give them food facilities, everything. But they does not have any knowledge about this contraception means to avoid. If you don't want that particular pregnancy, you don't want that particular child, so what methods you can adopt so that there is no pregnancy. So this is called as the contraception. So there are certain methods. So under these contraception method, the first method which comes is the barrier method. Then physical barrier method is there, which is the most common method. Second method is surgical method, and the third one is chemical method. Okay, so in the first one, that is the physical barrier method, there are many devices available in the market, that is condoms for male and female. Actually, what is the purpose of that particular device is that it does not allow the contact between the sperm and ovum. Okay, so condoms are there for male and female. Then copper teas are there, a tea made up of copper, and when sperm comes in contact of that copper, it is actually fitted in the vagina of a female. So when that entry of the sperm will be there, it comes in contact of that copper and it get killed. Okay, so that also is there. It is coming under the physical barrier method. Then surgical methods are there. In surgical method, two very common methods are there, that is vasectomy and tubectomy, where what is done, a small cut is being made, surgery is being done by the doctor. In the case of male, the vas deferens, that is a sperm duct, it is been cut and it is been stitched, or it has been folded, so that there will be no passage of the sperm. So that is called as vasectomy, because vas deferens में cut लगाते हैं. And in the case of female, it is called as tubectomy, because the fallopian tube में वो cut लगा के उसको बंद कर देते हैं, so that the ovum will not come out. Okay, students. So that is about the surgical method. And now there is a chemical method also, in which there are lots of jellies, creams are available in the market, and the pills are also available. Okay, tablets are also available, which is for unwanted pregnancies. But that method is not so safe, because it actually affect these medications. These medications are not prescribed by the doctor. Why? Because it can change the hormonal secretion and the balance, which may lead to infertility in females. So actually these are not recommended. These tablets and pills, hormonal pills, are not recommended by the doctor. Let us see that. Let us read it in NCRT. And one more very important thing, this contraceptive methods should be used in order to avoid a very deadly disease called as HIV, because the unsafe sexual contacts may lead to the HIV or AIDS. A person will be having these type of diseases also, that is called as the sexually transmitted diseases, if the unsafe sexual contacts are there. And in this, there can be bacterial sexually transmitted disease also, there can be viral sexually transmitted disease also, and there can be, okay, The two categories we have seen: bacterial sexually transmitted disease and viral sexually transmitted disease. See, here it is written, these infections include bacterial infections such as gonorrhea and syphilis, and viral infections such as warts and AIDS. The warts and AIDS are coming under viral sexually transmitted disease, and gonorrhea and syphilis are coming under bacterial sexually transmitted disease. So in order to avoid these diseases also, so that happens because of unsafe sexual contacts, and if we are using these contraceptive methods, so that can ensure that a person will be protected against these deadly diseases. Here it is written also, using a covering called condoms for the penis during sex helps to prevent transmission of many of these infections to some extent. The sexual act always has the potential to lead to pregnancy. Okay, so when there will be sexual act, it will lead to pregnancy. So in order to avoid the unwanted pregnancies, there are different methods as we have already discussed. देखो यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ, these contraceptive methods fall in the number of categories. One category is the creation of mechanical barrier so that the sperm does not reach the egg. Condoms on the penis or similar coverings worn in the vagina can serve in this purpose. Means condoms are both for male and the females. Another category of contraceptive act by changing the hormonal balance of the body. Okay, these drugs commonly need not to be taken, has to be taken orally. However, since they change the hormonal balance, they cause side effect too. Other contraceptive devices such as the loop or the copper T we have discussed right now, placed in the uterus to prevent pregnancy. Again, they can cause side effects due to irritation of the uterus. Okay, so if copper T will be fitting in the uterus, in the vagina of the female, it can irritate that female body and it can cause injury or infections also. Fair, now we have discussed about two methods, vasectomy and tubectomy. Surgical method can be used to create such blocks. While surgical methods are safe in long run, surgery itself can cause infection. So definitely if there is surgery, so there are some side effects and all. Okay, so that all is given over here. We have noted earlier that reproduction is the process in which organism increase the product populations. The rates of birth and death in the given population will determine its size. The size of human population is a cause for concern for many people. This is because an expanding population makes it harder to improve everybody's standards of living. Okay, so that is very important over here. Okay, poor living standard is the result of more number of children. Means if the person is not able to feed or take care of more children, and if more children are there in his family, then the condition of family will become very, very bad, and the status and the living standard will also get deteriorated. Okay students, so we have completed that topic from our NCERT also. And if you feel that you are not able to get this topic, so once again you just view this video after making pauses in between, and you listen what I have just explained over here, and you will be able to understand it very nicely. This is an additional advantage of making the video, that you can rewind and again and again you can hear it. So student, we have completed this topic from our NCERT. Tomorrow we will be just discussing about the question answers of NCERT in this manner, in the form of a video explanation only. Okay students, so we'll for today we'll stop here only. Okay, thank you students.